They said a single warrior once defeated an entire army, not with strength, not with speed, but with focus so pure that time itself seemed to obey him. Now imagine if you could borrow that same power for just 15 minutes a day, enough to obliterate procrastination, silence distractions, and finally finish what matters most to you. By the end of this story, you'll understand an ancient samurai mindset that transforms hesitation into momentum and laziness into laser focus. So take a deep breath, lean in, and picture this. Chapter 1. The Whisper of the Blade. They said there once lived a warrior who could slice through falling raindrops without missing a single one. His secret wasn't his speed, nor his strength, it was his focus. His mind was so still that even the chaos of battle seemed to slow around him, but like all powerful things, his secret faded into legend until one day, centuries later, a young man stumbled upon it again, not through combat, but through his struggle with something far more common: procrastination. In the mountains of old Japan, beneath a sky brushed with morning mist, stood an ancient dojo surrounded by whispering bamboo. The air smelled of pine and river stone. Here lived Master Hiroto, a once feared samurai who had traded his sword for silence. His students came from far and wide, not to learn how to kill, but how to conquer the self. Hiroto often said that the greatest battles are fought not on battlefields, but in the mind, where hesitation, distraction, and doubt wage endless war. Among his students was a young man named Riku. His eyes burned with ambition, yet his spirit wandered like a leaf in the wind. He wanted greatness, yet he could not commit. He dreamt of discipline, but found 1,000 excuses to avoid it. Every morning, when the others trained until their breath turned to mist in the cold air, Riku lingered behind, telling himself, "I'll start tomorrow." Master Hiroto watched silently. He had seen this before. The disease of delay. Riku wasn't lazy. He was afraid to fail, afraid to succeed, afraid of what would happen if he gave his all, and it still wasn't enough. One morning, after watching Riku yawn through yet another practice, Hiroto called him forward. His voice was calm but sharp, like a blade polished to a mirror edge. "Riku," he said, "tell me, what holds you back?" The young man hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck. "I don't know, Master. I want to train. I just never feel ready. My body's tired, my mind's cloudy. There's always something else to do." "There's always tomorrow," the old samurai chuckled softly. His eyes crinkled like folded parchment. "Tomorrow," he said. "I have met that man many times. He never arrives." Riku looked down, ashamed. Hiroto reached into the pocket of his robe and produced a small, smooth pebble, glinting in the morning sun. He held it out in his weathered palm. "Take this," the master said. "For the next 7 days, you will train only 15 minutes each morning, no more. No less. Hold this pebble while you do. When the time ends, stop immediately." "Even if you wish to continue," Riku frowned, confused. 15 minutes? That's hardly enough time to learn anything." "Exactly," said Hiroto, "so you have no excuse not to begin," and with that, the lesson began. Chapter 2, The Pebble and the Mind. The first morning came draped in fog. The courtyard was still damp with dew, and the scent of rain lingered in the air. Riku sat cross-legged on the cold stone floor, pebble in hand, sword at his side. He set his gaze on a single point, a petal trembling on a branch nearby, and promised himself to stay focused for 15 minutes. At first, his mind rebelled, his thoughts darted like restless birds. "This is foolish," he muttered. "What's the point of sitting here doing nothing?" He thought about breakfast, about his friends, about the long path that led back to his village. His mind created 100 reasons to stand up, yet each time he tried, he felt the weight of the pebble in his hand, cool, smooth, grounding, and something about that tiny stone kept him still. The minutes passed like hours, but then, slowly, something changed. His breathing softened, the sounds around him, the whisper of bamboo leaves, the distant murmur of water, seemed to blend into a quiet rhythm. For the first time in months, Riku felt his thoughts fall silent. When he finally opened his eyes, the sun had risen higher, casting golden light across the valley. The 15 minutes were over. He stood, strangely refreshed. He hadn't learned a new technique. He hadn't practiced a single swing, but inside, something subtle had shifted. His mind, once scattered and loud, had found a thread of stillness. The next day he returned to the same spot, the day after again. Sometimes he succeeded, other times his thoughts wandered far away, but each morning he came back. By the third day, frustration began to grow. He looked at the others sparring, their swords flashing under the sun, their shouts echoing through the courtyard. He clenched his fists. This Pebble nonsense won't make me stronger, he thought. I'm wasting time. Unable to bear it, he stormed to Hiroto's quarters. The master sat by the window, sipping tea, watching the clouds drift across the peaks. Master, Riku said, bowing stiffly, I don't understand this training. How can sitting still with a pebble make me a better warrior? Hiroto set down his cup and looked at him with kind eyes. The pebble is not the lesson, Riku. Your mind is. I don't see how. You want to learn the art of the sword, Hiroto interrupted gently. But you cannot even hold your attention still. Your blade wavers because your thoughts waver. The first battle every samurai must fight is not against another man, but against the noise within his own skull. Riku frowned but said nothing. The master continued. Each morning, when you sit with that pebble, you are not wasting time. You are sharpening a different kind of blade. The blade of presence, focus like steel, is forged in heat and repetition. The words sank into Riku's mind like water soaking into dry soil. He bowed deeply, murmured his thanks, and left the room. Chapter 3. The River Within. By the fifth morning, the training began to feel different. Riku sat beneath the blossoming cherry tree. The same pebble nestled in his palm. The air was still, the scent of petals sweet. This time, he didn't fight his wandering thoughts. He simply noticed them, watched them come and go, like leaves drifting down a river. The more he watched, the quieter the current became. He felt the cool weight of the pebble grounding him, keeping him present, and then, almost imperceptibly, something inside him clicked. The tension that usually gripped his chest melted away. His breathing deepened. His awareness expanded. He began to see, hear, and feel everything more vividly, the glint of dew on grass, the distant sound of bamboo creaking in the wind, even the faint echo of his heartbeat. When he finally rose, his mind felt clean, as though someone had opened a window inside him. That day, when he practiced with his sword, his movements felt. Riku, one of them said after sparring, you've changed. What happened to you? Riku smiled faintly. I stopped waiting for motivation, he said. I train even when it doesn't come. The others laughed, but Riku didn't mind. For the first time, he understood something deeper than skill or technique. The pebble had become more than a stone. It was a mirror, reflecting the state of his own focus. Each day he realized he wasn't training his body. He was training his mind to return. Hiroto watched from a distance, his expression unreadable but his heart quietly proud. He knew that Riku had begun to awaken the warrior's true power, the ability to focus without force, to act without waiting for perfect conditions. The young man had discovered what so few ever do. That mastery begins the moment we stop negotiating with ourselves and simply begin. Chapter 4. The Test of Stillness. On the seventh day, dawn painted the mountains gold. The students gathered in the courtyard for the final trial, a test of precision and calm. The air was alive with quiet tension, the kind that hums between heartbeats. Hiroto stood before them, robe fluttering gently in the wind, eyes calm as still water. Today, he said, you will perform the kata of 10,000 cuts. Each movement must flow into the next like water into water. You will not be judged by strength, but by presence. The students bowed, swords were drawn. The sun shimmered on their polished steel. Riku felt his pulse race, his breath quicken, that old anxiety threatening to rise again. But then his fingers brushed the pebble tucked in his sleeve. The familiar coolness of the stone anchored him. He inhaled deeply, the scent of blossoms filling his lungs, and began. The world seemed to slow. Each swing of the sword cut through air with effortless grace. The rhythm of his breathing matched the rhythm of his movement. He no longer thought about being perfect. He simply was. His focus became pure, a single, unbroken line from mind to motion. Around him, other students faltered. Some lost balance, some hesitated, but Riku moved as if guided by the wind itself. When he finished, he lowered his sword with quiet humility. Hiroto watched, his expression unreadable, but a faint smile touched the corner of his lips. After all the students had finished, the master stepped forward and spoke softly. Do you see, my students? When the mind is divided, even a strong warrior stumbles. But when it is whole, when you give your full self to this moment, even 15 minutes can reveal your true power. Riku bowed deeply. The lesson had finally sunk in, not through words but through experience. He had learned that mastery was not found in intensity, but in consistency. Not in ambition, but in presence. Chapter 5. The river returns. When the trial ended, Riku remained behind in the courtyard. The others celebrated or rested, but he sat quietly under the cherry tree. The petals fell around him like slow snow. He took out the pebble, rolling it between his fingers. Reflecting on the past week, he remembered the first morning, how restless he'd been, how impossible focus had seemed. He remembered the doubt, the anger, the urge to quit. Yet here he was calmer, sharper, lighter. The transformation hadn't been sudden or dramatic. It had been steady, like water wearing away stone. As he sat there, Hiroto approached silently. The old master looked down at him and asked, "Tell me, Riku, what have you learned?" Riku turned the pebble in his palm, then spoke slowly. "That focus isn't something to find, master. It's something to return to over and over, like a river returning to the sea," Hiroto smiled. "Yes, that is the essence of discipline, returning. We think strength is in pushing harder, but it is truly in coming back. Again and again, even when it's boring, even when no one sees, even when you feel like nothing is happening." He looked toward the valley below. "You see that stream? It has flowed there for hundreds of years, carving its path into stone, not by force, but by persistence. You too must carve your path this way, with quiet return." Riku nodded. The master placed a hand on his shoulder. "Keep the pebble," he said. "It is no longer a tool, it is a reminder. When you lose focus, and you will hold it, feel it, then begin again." The student bowed deeply, emotions swelling in his chest. For the first time, he truly understood that greatness was not about conquering others, but conquering the urge to stop. Chapter 6. The modern warrior years later, far from that misty dojo. A different kind of battle rages, the battle of the modern world. Our swords are no longer made of steel. They glow in the palms of our hands. Our enemies are not rival warriors, but the endless distractions that steal our time, notifications, noise, comparison, self-doubt, and in this world, the lesson of the samurai still echoes. The pebble remains. 15 minutes, that's all it takes. You don't need a mountain, a master, or even a sword. You need a single, honest moment of focus, one undisturbed window of time where you return to what matters. The truth is, procrastination is not laziness. It's resistance, a form of fear. We procrastinate because we fear imperfection, fear commitment, fear the silence where excuses no longer live. But the way through isn't to fight the fear, it's to shrink the task. Make it so small that your brain can't refuse. Start with 15 minutes, that's your pebble. Think about it. What if you gave 15 minutes to your dream every morning, without distraction, without hesitation, without scrolling? What if you simply began? You'd find that momentum doesn't come before you start, it comes because you start. That's what Riku discovered. Focus isn't built through willpower. It's cultivated through ritual. The power lies not in doing everything, but in doing one small thing completely. And once you taste that level of clarity, once you feel how different 15 minutes of full attention feels from hours of scattered half-focus, you'll never want to go back. So perhaps tonight before you sleep, you'll find a pebble, real or imagined. You'll hold it in your hand and remember this story, and tomorrow morning, when your mind whispers, "Not today," you'll smile and whisper back, "Tomorrow never comes." You'll sit down, you'll start 15 minutes, no more, no less. And that's how warriors are made. Not in battles, but in moments of quiet persistence. Epilogue: the pebble lives on. Years after Hiroto passed away, travelers who climbed the mountain often found small pebbles scattered around the dojo gate. Some said it was a custom among students who had learned from the master to leave their pebble behind when they finally understood. Others said it was Riku himself, now a teacher, placing them for the next wanderer who might need a reminder to begin again. No one really knows, but legend says that if you pick up one of those pebbles, hold it in your hand, and breathe deeply, you'll feel something awaken inside. Not magic, not mystery, but focus. The kind of focus that can turn 15 minutes into transformation. Because the secret isn't ancient at all. It's as simple as this. The moment you start, you've already won. So, if this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to begin again. You never know whose focus you might awaken. Life lesson. In a world that glorifies constant motion, the greatest strength lies in stillness. Focus is not found. It is returned to. Procrastination loses its power the moment you choose action over anxiety. The samurai's secret isn't buried in the past. It's alive in your next 15 minutes.